guys, welcome to the channel today. This is Deannette and I'm in the kitchen. I wanted to come and do a little video with you and share some things. You might have heard previously on previous videos that I was fasting, and when I told my family doctor that I was fasting, she was encouraged by that, and she recommended me a book to read. And let me show it to you. She recommended a book to me to start reading, and it's a book that has really changed my life. And I'm not done reading it. I'm almost halfway through. I'm reading it very slow, trying to take in all of the information that she is passing along in her book. She also has a YouTube channel, and maybe by the time I get this video done, I can link you to her YouTube channel. But her name is Dr. Mindy Pelz, and the book that I've been reading is called Fast Like a Girl. And in this book, it talks about the healing power of fasting, you know, to burn fat, to boost energy, and to balance your hormones. And I've learned through reading the book, you know, that how she breaks it down even to the cellular level. And it's funny that I started reading this book, and Suppy's been watching videos on cooking more wholesome and not modern day cooking. He's even going back, and we're probably going to do some series on this, to researching how they cooked during the Great Depression. And you know, that was a time before all of the preservatives were added to food, and people really had to cook what they had, what they grew in their gardens and stuff like that. But we've been talking about milk in October Grace a little bit more. We're having a hard time keeping up with the demand of milk in our family, because as you know, we have me and Stumpy and Mom that live here, and then Erica and the boys, and Anthony live across the street, and Jason and Lauren, and Denise and Eric, and even Uncle Glenn partakes in all of the raw milk. And so it's been difficult, but saying it's been difficult, it's not fair. We don't milk every day. So anyway, I don't know where I was at in that. Mother come in, Izzy started barking, and so I had to cut the video. But so Stumpy we've been talking a lot about, you know, trying to cook more wholesome meals with what we have and what we grow. And as I was reading this book, she talks about all the toxins in our food, and the different chemicals that are added for flavor and stuff like that. Very interesting. And so, and then she also, here you go, Anna, at Fermented Homestead, she talked about the importance of having good gut health, and how that's where a lot of your health comes from, is your gut. But you know, breaking it down to a cellular level, man, really helped me understand, you know, how my hormones play such a vital role in the health of my mind, of my stress, of my just overall health, you know. And so I'm continuing to read. Like I said, I'm not done with the book. I'm still reading. It's a great book. But I got off work early today, and I was talking to Stumpy on the way home on the phone, and he was telling me some interesting things that he had researched. And I'm trying to do a mixture of to get probiotics in my food as I eat. And so we had spaghetti left over from supper last night. And so I wanted to add, I was trying to think, well, I didn't have stuff to do a salad. I do have some cottage cheese in the refrigerator. I could add some cottage cheese and I could get my culture in. And so I did that, and I was sitting there eating, and Steph and I were still talking on the phone because he had a long drive home, and I got to looking at the cottage cheese. And the cottage cheese that I purchased from a local store. And you know, it does have cultured pasteurized skim milk. It has a whey protein concentrate. It has whey and salt. But as I kept reading, and she warns you about the long list of ingredients on your products you purchase from a grocery store. You know, there was some potassium sorbate and some carbon dioxide, which was probably to help maintain freshness. But there's some other things here that I have no idea what they are. You know, and she says if you don't know what they are, then they're probably pretty much not good for you. So, and then I also noticed that this particular brand of cottage cheese contains bioengineered food ingredients. How interesting is that? And so, being that we have a milk cow of our own, Stephanie and I have talked about this in the past, about making our own cottage cheese from October Grace's milk. He said, well, why don't you look it up? And so while we were talking on the phone, I looked it up. Very, very simple to do. And this particular recipe that I looked up doesn't require rennet. And it only requires 2 ingredients, you know, salt and your milk. And so I'm going to go let you join me. This will be my very first time making cottage cheese. And so if anybody is an expert at making cottage cheese, don't be cruel to me. Just tell me. I can take constructive criticism real well. But don't be mean. I'm learning. I want to learn. I'm very, very interested in learning. But what she tells you in the instructions is I need 2 quarts of raw milk. Well, we just so happen to store October Grace's milk in half quarts. If you know your measurements, then that's 2 quarts of milk. And then you need some salt. She says sea salt, but I've got Redmond's salt, so I'm going to use it instead. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to skim the cream off from the raw milk. And then I'm going to refrigerate that cream and keep it. The thing, if you keep your cream with the milk, the cream doesn't curd. But later on we're going to return it back to it. But for now I'm going to remove it and put it in the refrigerator for later on. So let's get started here, and I'll take you through the steps as we do this. And I'm praying that this turns out, because I told Stuffy, so I would love to keep cottage cheese at the house. That is another great ingredient to have as a side dish or with your meal to get your good bacteria in your gut. And so let's get started here, and let's see if we can get some. This should make about 3 cups of cottage cheese, so we'll see. We might have to start milking October Grace every day. Well, that'll be okay, because I love cottage cheese. So let's do this. Okay, so we're going to take this cream off, and I'm just going to leave it in this jar and put it back in the refrigerator. So I'm going to remove October Grace. Man, that cream. Look at that. I think the guys got 2 gallons off of her this morning. They locked her up earlier last night, so she was put up earlier. You won't be able to get all the cream, but if you get most of it off, it'll be fine. Okay, I think that's pretty much all the cream. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. Okay, so our next step is you're going to take your, it says make sure it's in a wide mouth jar. Okay, so I've got my wide mouth jar. You can use a coffee filter, or it said cheesecloth. Coffee filter, cheesecloth. I'm going to put this over the lid. And then I'm just going to secure it with a rubber band, okay? If I can get that on without tearing the coffee filter. Let's try this again. Okay. So I'm going to let this sit. She recommends for it to sit 1 to 5 days. And today is Tuesday. It's about lunchtime. And so I figure if I let it sit until Saturday, then it would be right. And what it's going to do is it's going to clabber. And what's that mean? What does that mean? That means it's going to sour. But it's got to get to room temperature, and it's got to sit there that long. And you know, I'm assuming it's going to be the consistency of yogurt. So she also says in her recipe that it might take longer in a cooler kitchen for it to clabber. But I'm going to leave it sitting here, and I'll check on it daily. And I've got it covered, so maybe the flies won't get in it. And we're going to let it basically sour. And then I'll bring you back on the day of making the cottage cheese, and we'll show you what she says. Now I'm going to give credit to this this website that I got this from. This particular website is, let me go to it, Learning and Yearning. It's an article by Susan Vinskowski. It was back in 2018 that she wrote this article. And so I read the article, I was like, it was very good. And so I wanted to try this recipe. And like I said, this is something Stumpy and I have been talking about for a long time, about getting into trying our own homemade cottage cheese, which I don't know if you've ever done it, but to take cottage cheese and put blueberries in it with a little bit of organic maple syrup is really, really good. And sometimes I'll put frozen blueberries in there with it, and it makes it like almost like a cold ice cream treat. And it's very filling. In fact, I had spaghetti at lunch today, and I put some cottage cheese in there, and I couldn't eat it all. I got really full really fast, and so it was very filling. So we're going to let this clabber, and we'll see what it looks like. So I'll see y'all in a few days. Good morning, guys. It is Saturday morning, and it is time to make our cottage cheese. Now, it's been sitting about 5 days. We separated the cream from the milk, and so it's been sitting here on the counter all week. Now it does have a little bit of cream on top, and it does have some mold growing right there, but I'm just going to scoop that off the top. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to take the milk, and we're going to pour in this saucepan. And it recommends that you use a heavy bottom saucepan. We're going to heat it slowly, stirring it with a slotted spoon up to about 100 to 110 degrees. So let me get this, what little cream is here, off the top, and let's get it poured in the pot and get going. Yeah, this is just a thick layer of cream. I'm going to dip it out. It's almost like butter. Huh. That's what it looks like. It's butter. That's the cream. I kind of want to get grossed out a little bit just thinking about, because of the mold in here. But okay, I got most of the cream out. Okay, now I'm going to pour it in the saucepan here. Okay, now I'm going to turn this eye on. So I got my slotted spoon. I got my thermometer. I'm just going to start stirring the milk. Let's see how long it takes for it to start separating. I don't want to get it too hot, so I'm going to leave my thermometer laying in there. Let's see. So we're warming the milk slowly with this little spoon. Definitely don't want to kill any of the beneficial enzymes, so I'm keeping a close watch on my temperature here. And as it warms, the curds are going to start to separate from the whey. And what I'm going to do with the whey after we're done is I'm just going to pour it to the pigs. Yeah, it recommends that you, stir slowly so you don't disturb the curds too much. Okay, it looks like we're at about 100, but I haven't seen the curds separate yet. I'm just going to bump this down just a little bit. I don't want it to get any hotter than that. I can tell it's thickening up, so there's something happening here. Okay, so I'm keeping it, maintaining it at 100 degrees right now, to maybe slightly over, and you can start seeing the curds separate. So I'm going to keep stirring, because I should be getting about 3 cups of cottage cheese. So I'm going to slowly stir a little longer and see what happens. Monitoring my temperature very closely. Yeah, I do not want to get any hotter than that. So I'm going to leave it going right there and just keep stirring slowly and see if I get any more curds forming, but you can see it. Okay, so something happened. I lost my curds. So I started researching and looking for some more recipes to see what I can do to fix the problem. And I found another recipe that said heat your milk to 180 degrees. We'll see. And then I'm going to add some vinegar to it to help separate the curds. And we're going to go from there. And we're going to see if that happens. I put it back on the eye, and was starting. All my curds were gone. So I don't know what I did wrong. You know, the thing with our channel is we do not claim to know everything, and we're always willing to try anything, and we're just going to let you come along and watch us on our failures and our successes. Today might be a failure one, but I'm not going to give up. So I've got the milk heating. I'm going to go get some vinegar. This particular recipe called for a gallon of milk. I have half a gallon, and it called for a 1/4 cup of lemon juice or vinegar. I'm going to go get an 1/8 cup of vinegar and add to it once it reaches the temperature of 180. And then I'm going to bring you back, and we're going to see what happens. So here we go. Trying to make some cottage cheese. Say hey, Erica.
Oh, good morning.
So it's starting to separate. It is. It's at 100. Let's see. A little over 150. Oh, that was Colonel's tail.
Easy.
So I'm gonna let it get up to 180. It is separating now. Much bigger curds. I'm not stirring it as much, and I can see the whey. Previously, the whey is a yellow, watery substance. It wasn't separated, and so I don't think that it got up hot enough to do it. But it's separating now. I see a bunch of curds. I mean, the much bigger curds. I use my. Oh yeah, this might work. But once it's at about 160 now. When it gets to 180, I'm going to add an 1/8 cup of vinegar, and then I'm going to continue to heat it another 1 to 2 minutes, and only stirring occasionally. And then after I heat the milk, I'm going to let it sit. It says remove the pot from heat and let it sit 5 to 10 minutes. So that allows the curds to fully develop. Y'all might not ever watch my channel again. I'm just going to label this video the don'ts on the title. But yeah, I don't want it to boil, so I'm going to be very careful. It's almost at 175. Once the milk reaches this temperature, we're going to add this. And like I said, it could be lemon juice or vinegar. It's at 175. And I'm not stirring it, so I'm just going to run my thermometer there through it. It's right at 175. That looks much better. The curds are much bigger. It looks like normal cottage cheese. Oh, I was feeling a little discouraged, and I'm not done yet. Okay. So now I'm going to add this. I've got an eighth cup of vinegar. I'm going to add to it. And it says to stir gently. So, let's see. At one article I saw said, you know, don't stir in circles, and that's what I was doing. After heating your milk, you'll see some, okay. Heat the milk for an additional 1 to 2 minutes, stirring occasionally. Okay. I don't want it to come to a boil. So, I'm going to give it another minute or two, stirring occasionally. And I'm just going to go in and pull it across. In and pull it across. This looks much better. This recipe also says to sit it to the side for 5 to 10 minutes, letting it cool. And then I'm going to use a slotted spoon or a strainer to strain the cottage cheese. And then I'm going to rinse the curds and to get all the rest of the way out. Because if you don't get the whey out, then it's going to get rancid on you. And then we're going to get all the moisture out, all the way, and then I'm going to add some salt to it to taste. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it off and remove it from the heat and let it sit for about 5 minutes. Okay, let me show you the difference. I don't know if you can see in there. I'm going to show you the difference in the whey and the cottage cheese. I've let it sit a few minutes. Now I'm going to strain it. I have my linen towel that I could use, but I wanted to see if this my milk filter would work in catching the curds. If not, you can use a slotted spoon to remove all of it. So, but I'm going to see if I can pour this and get the curds separated. That looks more like cottage cheese. Making a mess here. Hey, boy.
What you doing?
Making cottage cheese. There's our Jacer.
Cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese. Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is I need to rinse it. Okay, so I got my curds in my towel and I'm running water and squeezing, and I'm going to get all the water out of it, but it looks like it's running clear. I got a small bowl here. I'm going to squeeze it and see, make sure that there's no water in it. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the cream that I took from it before. I'm going to follow that other recipe to make it creamy and stir it together. That's it, I'm going to... Jace, you gonna try it with me?
Probably not right now.
Huh. I was making pretty creamy. Okay, it's looking more and more like cottage cheese. I added some salt. I don't know if I've added enough, so we'll see. But I think I'm gonna try it. Let me grab a spoon. Grab a little spoon. Here we go. Here's for nothing. Oh, it needs a little bit more salt. And I'm using Redmond's. Huh. That doesn't taste bad at all. Homemade cottage cheese. Okay, let's see if that got enough salt in there. Yeah. Ooh, almost too much salt. That's pretty good. I think I'll put it in my bowl, in my container, and put it in the refrigerator. Save it for later. Okay, let me show you real quick the difference. This is what your whey, when it comes out of your milk, is separated. That's what whey looks like. It's a yellow substance. I'll save that for the piggies. But my cottage cheese, almost thought I ruined it. I didn't. Praise the Lord. It tastes good. Good for you. Good for gut health. And I'm excited that I've got it figured out. But thank you for watching us. It wasn't a complete failure. I'm kind of excited that I didn't completely lose it. Thank you for watching us today on Perry Hill Farms. We will see you on the next video. And as Stumpy always says, a simple life is a much more enjoyable life. God bless you.